Hello world and welcome to Podcast in A Minor, where I give you the weird little songs I write, and then I give you the stories behind them, weird stories and creepy stories and whatever the world gives us in all its glorious mystery. And now for today's opening song. I walk in the graveyard, an Elvis Presley cake, peanut butter and banana cream, usually latte, pancakes and coffee, no work today, it's my birthday, yeah. I don't care 'cause it's my birthday. The candles on the cake are talking to me. I must increase the odds of getting my own way. I'm cool with that 'cause it's my birthday. Scream on the TV, a nightmare on Elm Street. I do what I want, it's a groovy scene. Poetry comes near, rhapsody so clear. Now I've been here half a century. Sing your guts out, it's my birthday. Queen of my day, it's not a crime. Kylie ribbon, tiara, accessory, yeah. I'm cool with that 'cause it's my birthday. All the world is mine 'cause it's my birthday. Hello world and welcome to Podcast in A Minor. I'm Amy Zollers McAnally, a poet and an artist, and I'm in one of my moods. You just heard a moment ago, I'm cool with that, 'cause it's my birthday, on the Taylor Gemini Mini acoustic guitar. It's also electric if you want it to be, and hey, I do have other guitars around here, and the Farfisa organ you heard playing, happy birthday to you, but I so often default to the Taylor, and here's why. It's always right there in the living room, like cradled in a guitar stand, right in sight. And you know, life is hectic now that school started back up. I'm back at work after summer vacation. I just got married a couple of months ago, and we're both sort of homebodies, right? So because of old baggage, I have a really hard time cutting loose with like recording a song. It's like if anybody is around. And so there are only little tiny windows of opportunity to really like play it out nice and loud, like full throttle, with my actual readiness kind of intersecting with my organization and my opportunity to play while not being at work. I mean, wow, like what beautiful complications I so tenderly craft for myself, right? Wow. Well, so while I might be hearing a song in my head and it might like be on an electric guitar with like an octave pedal, woo, well, I just am not organized enough yet. I'll get there to kind of have that ready when the opportunity strikes. So there you have it. Let's meet up with the lyrics again. A walk in the graveyard, an Elvis Presley cake, peanut butter and banana cream, leisurely latte, pancakes and coffee, no work today, it's my birthday, yeah. I don't care 'cause it's my birthday. The candles on that cake are talking to me. I must increase the odds of getting my own way. I'm cool with that 'cause it's my birthday. Scream on the TV, a nightmare on Elm Street. I do what I want, it's a groovy scene. Poetry comes near, rhapsody so clear. Now I've been here half a century. Sing your guts out, it's my birthday. Queen of the day is not a crime. Curly ribbon, tiara, accessory, yay. I'm cool with that 'cause it's my birthday. All the world is mine 'cause it's my birthday. Well, yes, it's my birthday tomorrow, actually, at the time of this recording. My 50th birthday, half a century here on Earth, half a century under the bridge, friends and well-wishers, and that you don't wish me any specific harm, to kind of paraphrase Mo Sizlak from The Simpsons, that episode about Homer finding his soulmate way back when. And speaking of soulmates, yes indeed, there'll be an Elvis cake made by him who makes my soul urgent. More on that cake to come. And yes, indeed, I did take the day off work so that I might do whatever I want. My freshman year in college, I made the discovery that when it's your birthday, you can, in fact, do whatever you want. And that discovery went like this. College radio, KCOU Columbia, 88.1 FM. 30 years ago, if you please, Saturday mornings I always listened to a show called Wake Up with Dave and Brent. Won't you? And so one of the first episodes I heard of a Saturday morning, it was Brent's birthday. And at one point in the show, he played 3 songs in a row by the Ramones. Beat on the Brat, Sheena is a Punk Rocker, and those were the last 2. I actually don't remember what the first one was because it was September of 1992, all long ago. Anyway, Dave called Brent out for his shenanigans, to which Brent replied, hey, it's my birthday. I can do whatever the hell I want. Oh, and hey, Dave couldn't argue with that, and so they made a credo then and there that when it's your birthday, you can absolutely do whatever you want. What's the trouble, officer? Oh, it is my birthday. It's your birthday? Oh, well, carry on, right? So, half a century, okay? I've been here half a century, as the song goes. Now, when I was a kid, the telephone hung on the kitchen wall. It had a curly cord, and it rang with a bell. Seatbelts in the cars were optional, as far as I could tell, until I was about 9. There was no internet, but there was MTV, with nothing but music videos, and a Cubert video game cabinet at the Pizza Hut. Boys wore those striped athletic socks, pulled way up, and then later they wore parachute pants. Girls wore the socks with the lace around the edge and shoes with buckles, and later stirrup pants and jelly flats. Anyway, the year was 1974. The year I was born, that is. Did you know? The year 1974 from KeenFoundation.org. Significant events in the year 1974 include major political disruptions, such as the resignation of United States President Richard Nixon following the Watergate scandal. That was 1 month before I was born. And impactful contests in the world of sports, including the Rumble in the Jungle, a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. The Rumble in the Jungle. I did not pre-read that. It seems a little... Anyway, in international news, the first in an extensive collection of terracotta warriors was discovered in Xi'an, China. Local farmers came across pieces of a clay figure, which led to the discovery of the ancient tomb, vast in its size, and a number of artifacts. The 1970s were a period of transition for America, as the progressive values that emerged in the 1960s around political awareness and women's rights continued to flourish. A shift in pop culture also was underway, from Beatlemania and Flower Power to disco. Movies released in 1974 included Best Picture winner The Godfather Part 2, Chinatown, and Mel Brooks' 1-2 punch with Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein. A young novelist named Stephen King published his debut novel, Carrie, in the year of my birth. Wow, Keen Foundation. That's peachy keen. Say, Carrie by Stephen King. That fits in brilliantly with my plan to watch horror movies most of the day of my birthday and to eat birthday cake. Let's look at the history of birthday cakes. From Patisserie Valerie in the show notes is the link to that. So the birthday cake tradition dates way back to the ancient Egyptians with the celebration of their gods. Their coronation day was named as their birthday. The Greeks later adopted this tradition and added a cake to the celebration. They would create a moon-shaped cake, decorate it with candles, and present it as a peace offering to Artemis, goddess of the moon. Once the candles were lit, they were signified as they were shining up at the moon. Signified, I guess that means like that the candles were made significant as symbols of moonlight in the ceremony. That sentence confused me a little, I'm not going to lie. I'm 50, you don't have to pretend, right? But I adore the moon. I do adore the moon. And if it ties in with the history of birthday cakes, moon-shaped and such, I received that as one of my birthday gifts. Thank you, history. Thank you, Patisserie Valerie. And at last, This leads us straight to the Ode to Elvis poke cake. What is a poke cake? Poke cake is a 20th century delight that elevates the humble sheet cake. Of course, you have your layered round cakes, right? Which can be embellished in, oh, so many ways, various and magical, like frosting roses and exciting fillings between the layers, drizzles of melted chocolate rolling down the sides. And then, for those who don't wish to stack cake rounds and maybe have them go lopsided and precarious, well, you have the 9 by 13 inch rectangular cake, if you're pressed for time or uninterested in all the embellishments. There's only one pan required and no precarious or lopsided stacking. When you purchase a cake mix, the instructions tell you of all the different baking times for round cakes, rectangle cake, bundt cake, or cupcakes. These are some accepted forms going way back. So the poke cake is a way to really jazz up any cake, but especially the humble 9 by 13. Basically, you bake your rectangle cake according to the directions on the box. Once your cake has cooled for about half an hour, you take a wooden spoon and using the non-business end, the end of the handle, you poke a good number of holes, about 3/4 of the way down so everything doesn't run through. And you just poke holes all through the cake, about 3/4 of the way down. And the cake then is like covered with holes, maybe 2 or 3 inches apart in between them, you know. Next, you're going to pour something jazzy over the surface of your quarter sheet cake and let that substance ooze down into the holes. One thing you might use is freshly mixed unset gelatin in bright red or green for exciting contrast. Alternatively, you would pour freshly mixed instant pudding. Don't refrigerate it. You don't want it all thick and gloppy. You want it to slide down into the newly formed crevices of your poke cake. See that? You can sort of explain it with a slightly diminished level of dirty talk, but it's hard. Once you have filled your cooled and aerated cake, you'll spread on a topping. Often it's just Cool Whip, maybe mixed with Jell-O powder or pudding mix. Sometimes it's just a non-dairy whip topping standing tall in its own, what is it, splendor. These options seem to be preferred over, say, canned frosting or like homemade butter frosting, and I can see why. Got a lot going on with that cake. Let's keep the topping lighter. Don't let it distract from the glories within. I discovered the Ode to Elvis poke cake about 10 years ago as an internet recipe when I was a switchboard operator. Another thing I was anxious and yearning for control. Therefore, I was extremely careful about the foods that I put into my body, and yet not immune to the siren song of an Elvis poke cake. So when my workplace held a potluck day, I leaped at the chance to make one so that I could eat a slice, but not be haunted by the remainder of the whole cake beckoning me. I waited until like 3:30 that day to eat my slab of Elvis poke cake, and I was getting pretty manic and amped up and wired and edgy waiting for it to be time. And was it ever miraculous? Yes, it was. I'm looking forward to it. For the Ode to Elvis poke cake, you use a butter golden or butter recipe yellow cake mix. That means you add a stick of butter to it. That's a trick of the cake mix, people, as we learned in our Finding Betty Crocker episode 39, To Shreds You Say, to help a home baker feel more involved in the process. Not a just add water kind of thing, but really get your hands in there. As you beat the softened butter for your cake, you mix in peanut butter, and that makes it a peanut butter cake. Elvis Presley was known to love a grilled peanut butter and banana sandwich, and then you add the eggs and some water and the cake mix. Once the cake is baked and cooled, you poke your holes and pour your banana cream instant pudding, which you have mixed but not chilled. Spread it around, encourage it into the divots, and then you top it, the whole thing, with Cool Whip. When my husband readily agreed to make me an Elvis poke cake for my 50th birthday, huzzah, I sent him the recipe, only I had cut all of the ingredients in half to make a smaller version, except for the pudding and its milk. I kept that as was, so that half the pudding could be poured onto the cake, and the other half folded in. Yes, folded in. The hilarious bit from Schitt's Creek is playing in our minds right here. That is, you're going to fold the leftover pudding into the Cool Whip to make the frosting. Jamie, the inventor of the Ode to Elvis poke cake at lovebakesgoodcakes.com, includes crumbled bacon with the frosting and a drizzle of peanut butter thinned with milk on top. I-86 the bacon. The main attraction for me is the banana cream pudding, and I couldn't have anything crunchy interfering, even if Elvis did like bacon on his peanut butter and banana sandwich, and I believe he did. I've seen loads of recipes recreating it, including one in a healthy eating magazine about 10 years back, and healthy or questionable, it was delightful. I've made it several times. But I didn't want to make extra steps for my generous husband either, and that's also why I didn't tell him about the peanut butter drizzle. It's my birthday, and I want a banana cream forward affair. That might have sounded dirty. Many components of this recipe, this blessing on the universe, do make it challenging not to sound dirty when you talk about it, but hey, made it to the end of this segment. I have included Jamie's Elvis cake recipe as a link in the show notes, along with a link to a Dr. Pepper poke cake, which includes only 3 ingredients: Dr. Pepper, chocolate cake mix, and a warm jar of hot fudge. That is a poke cake of a different stripe. A lot of sugar, and yet compelling. Now, did I already share the story of being very angry and low one day, thanks to pregnancy hormones way back when, trying out the rumors that you can, in fact, make a cake with just a cake mix and a can of Diet Pop? Now, the rumor specifies Diet Pop because you already have a plenty sugared up cake mix going. And on this day, as I tell the story, we only had regular Dr. Pepper in the house. So I poured the regular Dr. Pepper into the chocolate cake mix right there in the rectangle pan, didn't even dirty a bowl, and put it in the oven, and eureka, it worked, and it blessed my soul. And after my son was born, and after he grew a few years, I would tell him about the cake, calling it Beatnik Babka, and say, and that is why, to this day, you are so sweet to my little son. It's true. Hey, it's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. Thank you for celebrating with me. See you next time. I'll play us out with Romanian birthday carol. La mulți ani cu sănătate, să-ți dea Domnul tot ce dorești, zile senine și fericire. La mulți ani să trăiești, mulți ani, la mulți ani, la mulți ani fericit, să trăiești, mulți ani, la mulți ani, la mulți ani fericit, să trăiești. Must the Encyclopedia Neurotica. It's my role in the play, and I must, and I must, and I must.